Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of CitySim Builds. In the previous episode, we built this partial cloverleaf interchange, and we also relocated the lumber industry to way over here, which I think makes a lot of sense in terms of where we have a large forest and also where we're going to be placing some other industries in the future. The other thing that we did was create a bunch of traffic issues. And this is my fault, because what I was doing in the previous episode is not practicing good land use planning. And with good land use planning, you want to spread out your uses. Originally, we had our main industry area right here, but we also had our farm industry up here, as well as our lumber industry. So everything over here was pretty mixed use in terms of the industrial, residential, and commercial uses being really integrated into this particular piece of land. So one of the things I want to do is break up this industrial area into maybe 3 different locations. And I'm thinking one area over here so that we can have some industrial use where the main part of the city is. And then I might add in another area up here. And with this, we can redevelop and add in some commercial and residential uses as well. Today's episode is going to be all about expanding the city, and hopefully we can get our population up to the next milestone. So we'll see about that. But with that, let's jump into today's episode. All right, so the first thing I want to do is come over here and add some industrial uses over in this general area. And the other thing I'm thinking of doing is adding in a cargo train terminal. I don't think this is going to be the location for that. I think that might actually end up either being up here somewhere or down here somewhere. But I think what we can do is allow for some industrial usage up here. So for this, I think I'm going to preserve this area for potential future farmland, but eventually we might relocate this farming industry over here to the outskirts of the city and redevelop this portion over here and also this portion right here. And what I want to do through here is really limit the connections that we have in terms of what is being accessed from the arterial. So we're just going to have 2 connections like that. Then I want to extend this arterial down further to the north. So I believe this was this cross section, and we're going to upgrade this here as well as our bridge. And then we're just going to extend this north just an arbitrary amount to get something in place. So through here, I'm going to try and do a similar thing where I try and put a buffer between the industrial and commercial uses. That's a really beneficial thing to do because of the pollution and noise. So we have these sort of collectors here, and I want to get more of a local road feel in here. And again, what I'm trying to focus on here is roadway hierarchy. This being our major arterial through the city, and this being another principal arterial that connects across the river. And kind of like in a more medium sense, these are going to be like our collector roads, which take some of the local traffic and bring them to the arterials. They act as that intermediate roadway between like a smaller local street to a larger arterial. So for this, I think I'm just going to stick with the basic 2-unit road. We're going to add in a connection like that. And I'm going to extend this section down a little bit further. And in real life, I do not like this cross section. I do not like a 4-lane undivided road. It drives me bananas. So I might be upgrading these throughout the city just so it makes more sense to me. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to do this with the median of some kind. So maybe we'll just stick with this basic one here. Okay, that makes me feel better. And for the industrial area here, I'm really trying to keep things very basic in terms of the grid, because that's, I feel like, what you typically see in an industrial area. So we're going to allow our commercial to be right here as a buffer, and then we'll add in a little bit of industrial through here. I think for now that should be good. And don't forget water. All right, excellent. And the other thing that we're going to need is electricity. So for the time being, I'm going to run a line down this way. And I think what we'll do is place a fire station to help the power jump. So we'll put that there. And then I'm loading it on the side so it doesn't load directly on the arterial right here. Then we'll bring that to there, and that should be good. And so now that we have some industrial in place, I'm going to get rid of some of the industrial over here. So let's go in and dezone maybe this portion right here. Oh, and I am doing a district, and that is not at all what I want to do. And I think that has us pretty well covered. Okay, excellent. So up here, I'm going to add in another little industrial area. And you can see I've been trying to place my interchanges with a certain distance apart. So we have this one here, and in an urban context, you know, I think a mile is a good distance. This one's a little bit closer than I would like to have it, but the partial cloverleaf in conjunction with a full cloverleaf with a collector distributor for a major highway that's next to the city, I think that should be fine. Oh, it looks like we're having some power issues. Let's take a look at that. And that's because we don't have power jumping over here. So I'm going to extend this along over here for the time being, and we'll get rid of this little section right there. That firehouse I think should be fine for right now. So let's go over here and think about where we're going to place another interchange. I think somewhere, I'm going to extend this one a little bit further. We're going to come to about here. So I want to turn on the terrain and see what we're working with in terms of the topography, and it's pretty flat through here, so that's to our advantage. So for the time being, we're going to remove a segment, and I think with the topography here, since it's decreasing on this side towards the river, I think we can go underneath here a little bit. Let's try and do that. So we'll go into our landscaping mode. So I'm going to grab roughly this elevation about here, and then let's get an area through here just to see what we're working with in terms of an elevation difference. I think we might need to go down a little bit further. So I'm going to come to maybe here. Let's extend that through. Okay, so now let's see if the highway can be reconnected up again right here. Okay, and it looks like we do need to go down a little bit further. There we go. I think that should work out nicely for us. So I'm going to get this segment in place, and then this one, so we can allow our highway connection to be reestablished. And I wonder if that's going to be enough clearance. Let's place an arterial placeholder in right here and see if it is going to work for us. We'll come over here to this side. And after looking at that, I think I'm going to go down a little bit further. All right, and let's get a road under here. So something about like that I think should work for us. And then over here, I'm going to soften the terrain just a little bit. All right, excellent. Then let's extend this down to the shoreline. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And I'm curious, while the game has been running, so we're still having some issues over here with our traffic, but we are getting some industrial use over here as well. So I'm going to add in a little bit more industrial over here. And I think what I need to do is extend these larger collector roads out a little bit. And then we're going to keep it like that. And we should be good with water, so that's good. And now that we have a little bit more industrial down there, I think we can get rid of some of the industrial over here as well. And it looks like we now have some increased commercial demand, so I think this would be a good spot over here for some commercial. So let's do a block there. We'll do a section here. We'll do something about like this. Then we can extend this back to here, and then add this section here. Then the other thing I think we can do is add in a little bit of residential here as well. And again, this is going to help us mix up our land uses, because we are going to keep some industrial over here, but I want to have a little bit better mix of land uses throughout. All right, and it looks like we have another power issue, so let's take a look at that and see what's going on. Again, we're not meeting up with our power, so let's just run a temporary line over here to where our main power production is. And that's the other thing. In creating this public works campus, we put all our recycling and incineration plants in this one general area. So all the city service vehicles like trash trucks and everything are trying to use this one road right here. All right, so coming back down to the interchange location over on this side, I think we're gonna, for the time being, back this up a little bit. And I wanna get in some ramps over here. So let's go and find our rural road to help plan this out. So we have our 2-lane gravel road selected. And I think I'm going to keep this one more of like a tight diamond, so pretty close to the existing highway. So let's come to here and just place a few placeholders. And that was $100, so we'll come out $100 as well. Then we'll do the same thing on this side. And if you find the rough midpoint, that was 180. So I think what I'm going to do is extend this up a little bit. So here we have 4 units of separation. So I want to find where it's roughly 4 units of separation. I think it's going to be right in here. All right, perfect. So I'm going to remove this section for the time being because it's causing a node issue, and I'm going to place a node there, and then we'll come up this way. Actually, before we do all that, I want to slope through here a little bit more. So let's go to our slope tool, and we're going to come over here and right click somewhere up here, and then start way down here and slope like that. And get a nice gradual slope coming up this way, up towards the hill. All right, let's extend this back to where it was, and then we'll get the ramp markers in place. That's good. We have 4 units there. That looks pretty good, except for I want to bring this out to where this one is on this side. Okay, excellent. And so from here, I'm going to use this node here, and we're going to use our guideline here to tie up with the ramps. And same thing on this side. And that was 1, 2, 3 nodes off, and we can do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3. So we'll come over, find that guideline, then meet up at a nice connection there, and I think we're gonna have to back this up a little bit, and then do the same thing on this side. So we'll come over, find that guideline, and get a nice connection there. Now we have a nice, more tight diamond interchange. So let's upgrade these to highway ramp sections. All right, and now I want to reconnect up the rail line. So I'm going to back this up a little bit, and I'm going to readjust some of the heights through here. So I'm going to grab this elevation and see if I can make another little mound over here like this. Then we're going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm curious if this is enough to bridge over. I don't think it is. I think we're going to have to increase the height here a little bit, but let's try. Yeah, and that we need to go up a little bit more. So I'm going to right click with the level terrain tool, and we're going to smooth out this area just a little bit and do the same thing on this side. And that's the connection I'm looking for. Excellent. So over here, I want to tie in nicely with the existing rail line. That looks perfect. I'm really liking that connection. And then the same thing over here, we're just going to curve over an amount that feels appropriate for us. So something like that, and then we'll tie in like that. Okay, I am liking that. Looks good. And I wonder if now I can go back and smoothen some of the terrain through here with a larger brush size. And I think that's about as good as it's going to get, because we had to do some pretty drastic changes with our terrain here to make this work. All right, so now that we have this in place, I want to turn back on the terrain. I want to put in another arterial that parallels the highway here, that respects our topography a little bit more. So I do know I want this to extend out to maybe this major contour line right there, because I think slope-wise that is pretty reasonable. And then from here, we're going to have something that comes off roughly like that. Then I want to get something that follows this contour down this way, and we can come up a little bit. I just want to get a placeholder here kind of established. And this is something I have not fixed yet with this. And we're going to come back and redo this whole rail situation over here, similar to probably what we did over here. But for the time being, I want to get some more industrial in. And over here, I do know that I want to place a cargo train terminal. Let's find our cargo train terminal. Then I want to develop another circulatory roadway system here. So let's use the 2-lane, one-way small industrial road. And let's just place something to see if it will work for us. That might be a little bit too close, but let's try and see. And that actually worked out pretty well. Excellent. And then so from here, I want to come to where the end of this is, and kind of the same thing right here, at least roughly speaking. Actually, I'll extend it like that. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, so from here, let's come out maybe 10 units. Then over here, we're probably gonna come out further, maybe 20 units, which is, I think that was $600. Yeah. And we're making this one way on purpose because we're going to be building industrial here, and I want there to be this nice circulatory pattern for trucks that are coming to the cargo train terminal over here. All right, so let's take a look at our arterial, and I want to get in something that also respects the topography. So let's turn on the terrain, and then through here, I think what we'll do is come out and start to curve this way a little bit. All right, so what we're going to do here is extend this section to there. And then let's reverse those 2 segments and then do the same thing here. And then through here between these, I don't mind there being a 2-way connection. That way if trucks want to do this sort of movement, they can. And I'm going to get in one more connection through here. So I want to find this guideline, and instead of connecting here, I might actually come to right here and connect up like that. And the reason for that is I'm sure we're going to have some queuing here from the trucks leaving the cargo train terminal. And the other thing I want to do is not have any uses immediately loading on this road right here. So I'm going to come out to say there. I think that should be good. And then over here, we can add in a little bit more commercial. I think that should be fine, especially along the arterial right here. We can do a little bit more industrial right through here. All right, and we're gonna need power and water, so I'm gonna find a way to run this down there. And typically you don't have this like water connection under the highway, but for the time being, I'm gonna allow that, and we're probably gonna come back and remove that in the future. All right, excellent. So we have water and power over here, and we probably are gonna need another fire station somewhere. So I'm gonna put it kind of here centrally located within this new industrial area. And we definitely need to connect up with our rail network, so let's do that. All right, excellent. That's looking really good. So I want to come back over here and see how things are progressing, and it looks like we still are having some traffic issues over here, and we have power issues as well. And we are having, I think, wholesale issues in general throughout the city, and we're losing a lot of money. So I think what I'm going to do is extend the power directly here to the power plant. So what I'm going to do is fill in some residential and commercial over here. I think it might be cool to have commercial along the coast. Something about like that. Then maybe a couple little pockets of commercial here and there. And then actually we're going to do an area like that to act as a buffer. Then over here, I think we can add in residential. And while we're over here, let's add in a medical clinic. Place that there. And then let's take a look at our power. So it's finally jumping up here. So this should resolve itself here in a little bit. And you see these here, like these little blue things, it's not enough goods to sell. And that's because of the way we had our industrial earlier. I'm going to let the game run for a little bit, and we're going to see if this resolves itself a little bit. All right, so I think things are about the same, and I think this is just one of those things that it's going to take a little bit of time, but we are starting to get some new growth over here, and this area is looking nice in terms of its development. The cargo train terminal is working, and we're getting some activity over here. Let's take a look at some of the city services that we have. Garbage processing is looking pretty good. Healthcare is good. Death care is also good. Child care, very good. And elder care, that could be a little bit better. I wonder if we can place a few elder care facilities around. So we have two over there. Let's maybe place one over here. This area looks like it's operating pretty well, and I know we do have some new traffic signals. So I want to remove those. So again, just making these stop signs on the edge like that. Then I do think this probably needs to be a traffic signal where two arterials meet up like that. Then let's come over here and take a look at traffic. I think this could also stay as a signal. Over here, we're going to make these stop signs. Then over here, we're going to remove that and make this a stop sign. All right, so I want to maybe add in a little bit more residential over here on this side. And I want to fix this situation here with the interchange. So let's get rid of this rail connection for the time being. And I think we're going to do something similar here, where we're going to probably bridge over where a new rail connection is going to be. And I'm okay with this being underground, but let's drop this down a little bit, and then we'll create a little area through here. And that's probably not going to be far down enough. So let's go down a little bit more. Then about here, I'm going to start to slope up to the rail line. And then the same thing on this side. And to help facilitate this, I'm going to extend this down and bring it over here. Okay, excellent. And then let's get rid of this section. So I'm going to find about in here, then slope up through here like this. All right, that looks good. Then let's go ahead and get a rail line in place. So I do know we're going to want to come through somewhere in here. So let's put that down. And then now that we have that, I want to get this height and level it over here towards where we placed our new rail line. And kind of the same thing on this side. So let's find this, come over to roughly there, and I think we still actually need to go down a little bit further with our rail. Yeah. All right, so we'll remove that for a second. Make sure we go down a little bit more, then extend this on through like that. All right, and let's see if that is good. Yeah, there we go, perfect. Then through here, I want to check out our terrain real quick. So I think it makes sense to back this up a little bit and tie this in over here. Good, excellent. So now let's reconnect our rail up. And actually, I'm gonna redo this section through here because I want it to be a little bit closer to the interchange. There we go. Much better, much better. So I think things are looking better. We're back in a positive cash flow. We have a few new roadway connections, and this is still pretty bad. Interesting. And this remains to be a major issue for us. So I think one thing I'm going to try and do is depress the highway into the ground here, and then have some roads going over the top. And that will increase our connectivity going over and allow for this highway to terminate here at this major arterial where I think it really needs to be. So we're going to remove this, and everybody's going to do a U-turn there. So we'll allow for that. Actually, let's get rid of that. All right, so I want this to be not that wide, so I'm going to come down to roughly one major contour level. There we go. And then let's grab the smaller brush and grab this height here, and we'll just extend this out down this way. Then let's slow the game down while we're working on this. And so through here, I want this to be not a highway, but an arterial. So this is going to be the point where our highway changes to an arterial. So I want to start from here and slope back up. So we have a nice gentle slope going down. And we'll come to about there. And then before we continue, I want to see if we can connect up something across over here. It looks like we can. And we're going to do the same thing on this side as well. And we'll come back and fix our path situation here in a moment. And then now what I want to do is grab this height and then slope through here. All right, about like that. And I'm actually going to take this opportunity to downgrade this bridge because we don't need 3 lanes. The game does not do a good job of utilizing all the lanes, and I don't think we need them. And then with the exception maybe here, just to allow for like an acceleration and deceleration lane where the merges happen, even though I don't think the game really does a good job of capturing that, I think for the time being that should be fine. So we'll bring this to about there, and then I want to tie in these 2 connections over here. And I'm not the biggest fan of that. But before we change things, let's see how it functions. We'll jump the game speed back up a little bit. Yeah, and this is like the major traffic issue here now because we removed this, but this is going to start to see some utilization for sure. And I think this created some junctions. Let's go in and take a look. All right, so we have free flow through here, and then it hits the stop sign. Okay, perfect. So through here, I want to upgrade these roadway segments. All right, so a little bit of wonkiness there, but that's looking pretty good. All right, so let's see how this operates, and then we'll come back and take a look at things in the future. And this irks me to no end, like the way the game does not handle merging here that great. And why do we have a stop sign there? That makes no sense. And let's take a look at this area. And I don't understand why it puts a stop sign on a highway. It's really bizarre. Are there any other ones? Okay, that's very strange. I mean, these are fine. Okay, very odd, very odd. We're still having the backup issue here. Yeah, and I think some of this too is I don't want to overreact because this is just part of growing pains with the city like this. So this is completely normal. And so over here, I'm wondering if we can snake this over behind the nature reserve and connect over here with the arterial. So let's take a look at our topography. So I think it makes sense to bring this through here and then down, maybe meet up there. I believe it was this cross section that we were using. So let's cut on our terrain. Then I think through here, I want to slope through here. So let's go over here and grab our level terrain brush and we'll increase the size. Let's grab this height. We'll slope through here like that. Okay, not quite what I wanted to do. So I think we're gonna have to slope through here and do the soften terrain tool. So I'm gonna grab this height and come up this way. All right, well, I had a couple redos there, but I think that should be good. So I want to extend this straight to about here, then find a node where this can meet up. So I think about in here and tie up like that. And hopefully what this will do is allow another connection for the trucks leaving the lumber company to go. Yeah, there we go. So we're starting to see some trucks come over here and then be able to access the cargo train terminal. All right, so I do want to expand residential in here. And I know we have a high industrial demand. And I want to put that in kind of in these 3 different areas as we progress with the build here. It's just strange to me that there's not a lot of great utilization of all these lanes here. And it looks like everybody wants to go right. Let's take a look at the routes here. So it looks like everybody is pretty much coming from over here and trying to head over here towards the main part of the city, which makes sense. I mean, this is where we have the most density. So at some point, there's only so much you can do. And I don't really want to change the character of this area that much more. Like, I don't want to add in like highway ramps and things like that. But yeah, so we're going to see how that progresses in the future. All right, so I wanted to see if I can extend this arterial around this way and meet up over here. Now this is going to be probably a tricky connection to make. So I want to come up here and find roughly about here and get a roadway segment in place. Let's see if we can make a connection like that. Okay, perfect. And then kind of through here, we'll have something close to the rail. And that's too sharp of a turn. Let's back that off. All right, excellent. So now we have increased connectivity over here with our arterial system. All right, so it looks like we might need a little bit more industrial. So I'm gonna place that around over here in our new locations. And I think what I'm gonna do is make this a one-way road to here. Then I'm gonna try and mirror roughly what we have here. Let's take a look at our terrain. Well, it looks like we're gaining students, so that's a positive sign. And our population's increasing and our budget still seems to be doing pretty well. And I think I'm actually going to make this a 2-lane section. So we'll do something like that. So let's bump this out a little bit. Then over here, I think we can tie in like that, and that should be good. Then what we can do is add in a 1-way section here. Then we can add in another one right there. All right. That's looking good, and look at all the new traffic associated with the industrial. Yeah, and it'd be nice if we had this tile and I could extend this connection over here, but for the time being, we don't have that, but that's okay. All right, so I want to add in a little bit more residential over here. We're going to turn on contours and follow the river here. Then here, we're going to have to bridge over the rail line. So let's take a look at that. All right, so we're going to pop this up on both sides, about like that. Then I think what I might do is grab this height over here, use the medium brush, and then level out like that. Let's back that up a little bit. Let's see if we have enough clearance here to bridge over. And I want this to be a straight bridge because you typically don't see curved bridges and they're very expensive. So I think something like that. That should be good. Oh, and it looks like we might have a power issue over here. Let's see. I think I severed power. Yeah, right here. All right. I was wondering why we were losing so much money, but this should change here in a second. Yeah, and it's already going down, or I guess going up. So, all right, let's come back over here and see what we can do with this section. So let's grab our slope tool, and then we're gonna right-click here, grab it, and slope up this way. All right, excellent. I think we can just tie in right there. That should be good. Then so through here, I'm gonna just come off, I think about here, something like that. So what I want to do is flatten the terrain out, like soften the terrain and everything, and then I'm going to build a roadway network through here. That looks pretty good to me. Okay. So we'll extend this to roughly here, and then I want to get some roads along the side of the rail line. I think that will look cool. Then we'll have something on this side. And then here, we're just going to come out to roughly about there. I'm going to create a curved road that connects up over here like this. Yeah, something about like that. And I'm just being a little bit more organic the way I'm approaching this area. And I'm okay with having a little bit of blank spaces here. Although when I get down over here, I think I am going to have a little bit of a grid. All right, I'm gonna grab the zoo path and I wanna add in a pedestrian connection over here. So let's turn on the freeform road tool. All right, excellent, excellent. So now I'm gonna add in a little bit more commercial over here on this side. And I do not want commercial right here on the edge. And I'll build a little bit through here, but not on the main road. Then let's get in some residential over here. All right, and we're gonna need some power connection over here, so let's take a look at that. For the time being, we'll use that. That's pretty ugly, but I think it should be fine for the time being. And I think one thing that we can do is remove this stop sign. We don't really need it right now. And oh my goodness, I did not even realize that I had this the wrong way. Okay, and that should help us out. And this is the wrong way. Goodness gracious. Okay. All right. So traffic has improved a little bit, I think, through here. We're not at least backing up on the main freeway, which is a positive sign in my opinion. And we're not seeing as many of these, not enough goods to sell throughout the city. I mean, we are still seeing it over here, but that's to be expected given the roadway network over here and everything. I am curious. I do want to try something. If we had a one-way road that popped off like that, would that help things out in this area? And let's take a look back at our junctions. So everything seems to be good through here. I think that's all fine and dandy. We'll see about this. We'll see about this. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that, but we'll come back to that. And things over here have definitely improved. We're definitely starting to see utilization of this other arterial, and that is good. We still have a pretty high industrial demand. So let's come back over here and take a look at this area. We do have a lot of traffic over here. I want to extend maybe this road along the river to meet up over here. So let's grab this height. That's too much. That's way too much. Let's decrease the brush size. I'm gonna come back and flatten this area out. So let's grab this height, bring it over here somewhere. Then we'll do the same thing on this side. Then from about here, we'll slope up. Okay, excellent. And let's find this cross section. All right, and then let's look at our topography. We'll stick behind here. And then before we can make this connection, let's make sure we can bridge across here. And it looks like we're not high enough. Okay. Interesting, interesting. I feel like we are, but maybe we're not. Maybe we're not. All right, there we go. So instead of creating a new node, I think I'm gonna curve the road a little bit this way. Then we'll cut back on our guidelines and find that one and meet up like that. Excellent. And then through here, I think we can find that guideline and come up like that. Then let's go back and soften the terrain through here, especially right here where I did not mean to bump it out so much. Yeah, you can already start to see a lot of people using this road. Maybe too many people. Then I think I'm gonna extend this road down a little bit further down the coast. And I did not mean to sever power, so let's get that back. Then through here, we're gonna find this guideline, meet up like that, then do the same thing on this side. All right, that's looking better. Oh, excellent. We just hit Metropolis, 42,000 people. Perfect. That was my goal for today. All right, so I want to get in a little bit more industrial over here and finish this section of roadway. Then through here, I might back this up a little bit. And we're just going to leave it like that for right now. So we'll get some commercial in. Then we'll do a little bit more industrial through here. And then I think some commercial along the coast here. And would you look at that? Traffic is not that much of a problem over here anymore. Excellent. But I'm sure we have traffic issues elsewhere. So we have some backups here. Wow, we gained a ton of students. That's excellent. For the time being, let's get rid of that stop sign and that one as well. And that should help us out with our traffic flow. Let's take a look at our other pinch points. So we are getting a lot of traffic through here now, but that's to be expected. And then over here, we're starting to get some backups. And I think what we're gonna need to do is place another cargo train terminal, maybe over here somewhere. But I think I'm gonna save that for a future episode. And look at that, everybody's happy. What a way to end the episode. Traffic coming into here is way better. I'm pleased with that, and we preserved these connections across. In fact, we probably made them better by having them be two-way streets as opposed to one-way streets. At least here we're providing some pedestrian connections. And actually, let's find that cross-section over here that allows a bike. Yeah, there we go. That makes me feel better. I don't know if it makes you feel better, but it definitely makes me feel better. Things here are looking better. So the main goal of this episode was to practice better land use planning by diversifying our zoning and our land uses. So originally I was trying to focus all of our industrial over here, and that's not really a good practice and not really realistic. As you can see, by spreading things out and by having the industrial zoning be like in this pocket over here, this one up here, and over here, we have helped out the traffic situation in town and also improved some of the issues that we had with goods getting to certain buildings and things like that. So I kind of jumped the shark on trying to make this whole area an industrial area, and things here are definitely improving. And the more we plan out our roadway network and make good use of roadway hierarchy, like I was discussing over here, the better things are going to be. But we are going to have issues like this where you're just going to have growing pains in the city. I think that's going to do it for today's episode. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please think about doing so. That'd be really awesome and it helps me out a ton. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. But I'm looking forward to seeing you all back here in Canarsie, which is our tutorial city, and things are definitely improving here. I'm really liking the way this is shaping up. You can kind of see how things are going to be shaping out in terms of our roadway hierarchy and where roads are going to be in the future. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this area progresses in the future. All right, well, I hope y'all are doing well, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.